Just fucking riff. What do I mean by having one campaign per business objective? Hi, I'm Charlie. We're going to help you out inside of your Facebook ads. Let's simplify. Let's get down to the bottom of it. I'm ready. Are you? Here we go. So, often I'll recommend to people, by often I mean like 99% of the time, I'll tell them one of the best ways of simplifying your ad account so you can most appropriately. What does it mean to have one campaign per business objective? Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm here to help you out with your Facebook ads. Let's make this simple. Let's make it work. Let's go. Okay, so one campaign per business objective. Now, let me break down why this is important, and then we'll get into what it means. Why it's important is because we want to centralize our ad spend so that every penny and every bit of data accomplishes something that we can build on. If we have a simple ad account, we can properly implement the scientific method for incremental growth over time. And we don't need to chase short wins based on other people in the social media giving out of context vanity metrics. We can build a business that gets better and better and better instead of chasing our tail, working harder and harder just to get a little bit worse every year. So, why does that have anything to do with one campaign per business objective? So, let's get to it. What I'm really trying to get down here is, if you want to have the simplest ad account possible, make sure that every penny you spend in any location is supportive of every other penny that you spend there. What I mean by this is, if you're doing creative testing, don't have 3 campaigns that can't see the data from other campaigns and other ad sets and other ads to understand what's going on. Yes, Facebook on the inside can see what's happening, but if you collate all of that data into one place and you spend all of that money into one place, and maybe you even organize it to let Facebook make the best decisions because you're starting to really pay attention, then every penny you spend is built on the wins and losses of every penny you spent previously. So this week's spend is informed by last month's spend. Your spend 6 months from now will be more impacted by the spend that you spent today than anything that you would do if you had 20 different campaigns. The idea is itemize out your business objectives. Basically, think of each Facebook campaign as a department in your business. Each one of them has a very specific objective. And part of the reason that we do this is not only for the collation of data, but it also makes it far easier to manage. If you have 3 or 4 creative testing campaigns or retargeting campaigns or prospecting campaigns or trying to do 5 or 6 different things, how likely are you to, with high degree of certainty, be able to analyze that data or make an optimization or take some actionable insight on what you're seeing? Well, the golden rule is the more complex your account, the more unstable you're going to see things. There is a direct correlation between complexity and instability. And my golden rule is the more complex your ad account, probably the worse you are at Facebook ads. Because a lot of people try to win with hard work and feeling smart. And what they do is they effectively try to keep Facebook as dumb as possible so that they can chase down short wins. And we're not about that life. We're going to try to make Facebook easy so we can deal long wins. That's the point. So, one campaign per business objective. Let's cover some business objectives that you might have a campaign built around. Well, we already went over one. Creative testing. If you have all of your creative testing in one place, well, then it's really easy to compare all the results against each other. It's really easy to manage your investment across each individual piece. It's really easy to control your testing. It's really easy to have high confidence because they're all being compared against each other instead of having different universes. So you're measuring them against different yardsticks and it's apples and oranges all day. Let's go another business objective. Strategic testing. What if we want to measure different audiences or different styles of trying to take things on? Let's go with the example of an audience test. If we have one campaign that is specifically designed to be our audience testing arena, i.e. maybe we're trying to find the nice middle ground between our broad and our 1% lookalike, or maybe we're trying to find if there's incremental value in introducing the complexity of a retargeting audience because we can afford that luxury problem. Maybe we're trying to do any one of these things. If you have, again, one place where that happens, then you're going to be allocating your spend to that one place. You can be able to manage it from a 50,000 foot level. And you can say, hey, look, 15% of my daily spend is going to be going into this audience test. You can jot it out on a line. You don't have 20 boxes to manage. It's one. And then boom, it's right there. And because all of that is collated into one place, all of the spend informs the next penny spent. This is all about incrementality of data by centralizing our ad spend and leaning into machine learning instead of keeping Facebook dumb and chasing short wins. There's a big theme here, and it's functionally down to, honestly, I think most people don't manage their Facebook account in a way that leverages Facebook to do the thing that Facebook does better than anything. They manage it like you would a Google ad account, or a programmatic ad account, a demand, or an inventory-based ad account, which honestly, those are absolute best practices for those platforms because those platforms functionally don't work in the same way that Facebook's machine learning do. It is not built around curating an experience to keep eyeballs on the platform. The average person scrolls the height of the Eiffel Tower on a daily basis and they curate your experience. Notice you don't see every post from every person in chronological order. No, you see what Facebook thinks is going to keep you on the platform longer, and they show you ads, which are basically just web pages. Every single ad, every single post is a URL, has its own web page. Facebook is just a search result curated feed of web pages for you to go through. It's basically just like an articles section on Reddit or BuzzFeed or anything else. Facebook is the exact same thing, and they measure the click-through rate and the stickiness and the bounce rate of each one. And if your ad has a higher bounce rate than something else, you're going to pay more money. So what you want to do is try to centralize your spend into a single place so that Facebook can learn what's going on. And if you try to do your strategic testing in 4 or 5 different places, then Facebook isn't able to look at test number 1 to inform test 10. Another example of a business objective that should be itemized out into its own Facebook campaign. Tactical tests. So if you're doing something around bidding models or optimizations or whatever it is you're trying to go there, maybe you're trying to do a cost cap, or maybe you're trying to do reach, or maybe you're trying to do some other objective that is outside of your norm. Maybe you're normally doing CBO, broad audiences, lowest cost bidding, and letting it go. If you want to try to find incrementality to that, put that into a tactical test so that you can understand in isolation how that tactical test runs. What is the effect of doing any one of these endeavors? Now, if you're listening to me very closely, what you can tell is each one of these types of tests could theoretically exist in its own campaign. And because they exist in their own campaign, it's potentially possible for you to run them side by side because your confidence in the outcome of that test, if you can afford the investment, will not be necessarily be impacted. If you're doing a creative test and then a tactical test against your control audiences with your control ads on a bidding model, those two things can absolutely run simultaneously, and you can have a high confidence in the output of that test because you know that the data pool is not being polluted by one effort or the other. What are some other ways to think about Facebook as far as organizing by business objective? Well, one of them, if you've heard me mention this before, is a control campaign. Now, I build almost every single ad account that I work with around the idea of a control campaign because that's functionally the optimal way to use the algorithm to your advantage. What is some place where you make the fewest amount of changes that is as simple as possible, where whenever you do make a change, it's going to have the highest level of impact, and then you only make changes that your testing shows is positive for you with a high amount of confidence. right? Instead of managing a whole bunch of stuff, it's in one place and you know what that's going to do day in, day out, week in, week out. You've got a very good idea of what to expect from it because it functionally performs the role of a constant in your 5th grade scientific method testing. So this control campaign might be, I'm running Facebook ads to make sales. Well, if you're using an ad account to produce revenue by triggering purchase events, have every single penny that's trying to do that is the constant for all of your tests into one campaign. That's a business objective. The objective of that campaign is to make sales. There's no other campaign whose primary objective, whose number one contribution to your bottom line is making sales. Now, there might be other places that you have. Potentially, you've run a tactical test and you've figured out a way to use manual bidding to your advantage. Well, that could be another business objective in its own campaign. So that would be another one that we could look at. This campaign's primary business objective would be to use a manual bidding model to lower our average cost so that we can train the algorithm to understand what a more efficient user is and will give us the ability to get incremental performance and potentially either scale our spend or scale our efficiency depending on how we're managing our investment. So this is a force multiplier that sits outside of our contemporary, our constant control campaign and performs the function of providing incrementality and training the algorithm based on best business practice. It's the elite that's out there, and the better that elite thing does, the better everything else does, because Facebook is learning, because you're teaching it what a good impression looks like, and you're rewarding it with more money. Now let's go over 2 or 3 other versions of control of business objective campaigns. You might have a campaign whose sole purpose is to prospect. Go find new people. Great. Put all of your prospecting into one place. Don't have a campaign built with lookalikes and then another one built with interest groups and then another one chasing down influencers and all of that other stuff. If that ad set, if that audience is good enough for you to run your business on, then it should be strong enough for you with the level of confidence that you can rely on allocating a dedicated amount of money. You're investing in the long-term success of that endeavor. Put it into one place. And that way, that one place is every single thing that you're investing in. All of your prospecting investments exist inside of one portfolio. That makes it far easier to manage, far easier to do analytics against, and every penny informs every other penny. I hope you're seeing a trend here. Another business objective could be retargeting with an upsell. Now, I'm a big fan of retargeting with upsells. You don't want the one thing for $20 for the trial? How about buy 2, get 1 free for $1.50? Full size, full price, but you get 1 free, right? You don't want just the one Ginsu knife. Okay, let me give you 2 knives plus the block and the thing that cuts a fish and the little mat that doesn't. We'll gift wrap it and send 1 more out to your friends for 3 easy payments at $39.99. Boom, I got you. Now, that's a great way to rebuttal somebody who may have turned down the initial offer. Honestly, you should also be prospecting with that too, but that's outside of the point here. If the business objective is to drive a different offer, that should not be in the same campaign as something else. So if you're driving a $50 offer and an $80 offer, don't put them next to each other, because Facebook will optimize towards whatever you're trying to do. If you're trying to get the lowest cost conversion, well, Facebook's going to probably run to the thing that provides a lower AOV because there's a lower barrier to making that sale. Facebook will understand that most people are likely to buy the cheaper thing than the more expensive thing. So it's going to run to wherever it can get a lower cost because you've optimized towards lowest cost, right? Now, even if it's $5 less to sell the $20 thing than the $150 thing, you're not going to sell that $150 thing because it's $5 less to sell the cheaper thing. So if you have different competing business objectives or things where you have different goals, if you define success differently, and by this I mean success might be a cost per acquisition here of $20 and success over here is cost per acquisition of $21. Well, those are different. Now that's a very small range by being hyperbolic here so that you understand if it's a different campaign, if it's a different landing page, if it's a different offer. By campaign, I mean at the overarching like marketing sense, not inside of Facebook. If it's a different objective for your business, if the landing page and the offer do not match, if the AOV is different, that's a different business objective and it should be in its own campaign. So I hope this really makes sense about how to break down Facebook by business objectives, but also understand that if you have two campaigns that are performing the same business function, I want you to know why that's bad. And it's bad for 3 reasons. Number 1, you are not centralizing your data, so the spend of one campaign does not improve the performance of another. Number 2, you're bidding against yourself in the ecosystem, so you are effectively raising your own costs. And point number 3, is because you're doing that, you don't know why one thing worked or another worked. It's luck of the draw on which campaign got that impression that delivered a purchase. So your analytics and your ability to deliver insight on the performance of those things is basically built around luck. And I see so many people chase down bad data because they have 3 or 4 campaigns all trying to accomplish the same thing. But on one day, one campaign got lucky, and another day, another campaign got lucky. And then they're complaining that Facebook is stupid and really unstable. Well, it's because you're actively keeping it dumb and preventing it from doing what it wants to do, which is deliver consistent, stable results. So that's why we organize by a business objective. All right? Hi, I'm Charlie. I hope this was helpful. Reach out to me if you need any more assistance. Go out there and reorganize your campaigns. Make it good. Lean into what Facebook does. I'll tell you this, something I say all the time. I'd rather lose while feeling dumb than, I'd rather win while feeling dumb than lose while feeling smart. And hopefully this is a great example of the humility because I am not editing that out of the video. All right, see you guys later.